you don't have to be able to read any of this. This is the most words I'll have on the slide today. It'll be mostly pictures because I like to yak away from there. So overview of what we're gonna do. I'll give you a little bit of background about me as a person. I'm gonna tell you the story of the Well Health and Fitness, which it is relative to, I guess, how we do things from there. And then after that, we're gonna talk about health span, lifespan, longevity, and strength, specifically for after the age of 70. So we work with everyone from our youngest is 6 all the way to people into their 90s. And health and fitness is a different conversation, different kind of those categories, but for the purpose of today. And then kind of real quick before I dive into stuff like this, I think it's important to say that I am obviously not over 70 years old. That is talking. Yeah, I know it's crazy. My job today is not to tell you what it feels like in your 70s or your 80s or your 90s. I don't know what it's like to live life with a 70-year-old body, an 80-year-old body, or a 90-year-old body. I don't know what a joint feels like after you get a hip replacement or a shoulder replacement. So that's not what I'm here for. I'm not here to preach on it. But yeah, have worked with people, as I mentioned, of all ages. And so my job simply is to hopefully inspire a little bit of education and then give you exact action steps that you can actually do today to help live a fuller life, a stronger life, and a more independent life. Sounds good? Cool. Let's do it. So before we get away from the wordy slide, it's kind of hard to explain what kind of gym the Well is without you seeing it directly. It's kind of easier to explain what it's not. So if you picture a gym in your mind, you probably think of something like a Planet Fitness or any kind of fitness, or maybe even the community center. Great gyms, completely opposite of what we do. So we do personalized coaching. That means every single member that we work with, you're not a name on a long roster. We know your name. We know the reason that you're there, and not the reason of, I just want to make sure my shoulder feels better, my hip gets better. The reason of, I want to be able to play with my 3 grandkids that are 2 years old, 4 years old, and 6-year-old that like to play football, play volleyball. I have, this amount of family in town. This was my career. We like to dive deep in and understand you as a person, not just as a member. So what that means is a lot of our members don't come in saying, "Hey, I want to be able to deadlift 600 pounds." Right? A lot of our members come in with saying things like this: "I want to feel like myself again. I'm tired of being tired. I want energy for my kids. I don't want to be sore and achy all the time. I want to feel confident in my own skin. I want to be strong enough for everyday life. I want to keep up, not sit out. I want to play with my grandkids, not watch from a chair. I want to stop starting over. I want to feel good when I wake up. I want to move without fear of getting hurt. I want to build habits I can actually stick to. I want to age well, and I want to feel confident." So that's what we're going to do. Is it the next this one is pretty present? Yeah. Is it this works? I'm a much better coach than I am with technology. It's like forever changing. Exactly. Yeah, I can't keep up. Yeah. Okay. Okay, cool. Okay, so a little bit about me as a person. So up on the screen here, these are the 4 most important people in my life, and they have all kind of taught me different things. So I'm going to just real quick go one by one. This young man up here is my younger brother, Gabe. We have a typical older sibling, younger sibling relationship. But the best way I can describe Gabe is someone who can sell ice to an Eskimo. He's extremely self-confident, high on the self-efficacy chart. And the lesson that my younger brother teaches me is the importance of self-confidence. Right? I think you can never go wrong with being confident in yourself in any aspect of your life. And down below here is me and my beautiful fiance. We are getting married New Year's Eve this year, so we're super excited. Yep, over at Nazareth Hall. She's an art teacher at Anthony Wayne. She grew up in the Bowling Green area, to the county, as they say. I'm from the Cleveland area originally. Came here for school, which I'll talk about in a couple slides. But the biggest lesson that Haley has taught me is if you ever meet Haley, you get one version of Haley. She is authentic to herself to a fault. So the lesson that she reminds me of every single day is the importance to step into my authenticity and to be me. And I think that's a lesson that we all kind of take into our life as well. And then over here is my father. He has his own story that I'm not going to get into for the purpose of today, but the importance or the important lesson that he's taught me in my life is the importance of resiliency. He is as we all know, our parents are not perfect, right? I like to say we go through certain stages with our parents. So we have the hero stage, right, where we think they're the greatest people in the world, and then we have the demonized stage where we find out that it's all a lie, right? Yeah, and then we have the humanized stage where we understand that hey, there's just another imperfect person in this world, and we can still love them. And then up top is my mom, who is probably she was the most important person in my life. She is an immigrant. She came to the States knowing nothing. She built her life step by step. She had every reason not to treat people with kindness, but kindness was her greatest strength. And so kindness is the overarching theme that she's brought into me. So with all these things kind of up in the upper right hand or your left hand corner, I was on a podcast a couple of years ago, and I was asked, how do I live the width of my life? And I live the width of my life by bringing who I am into what I do. So every program at the well, every interaction at the well, every person that we meet is an extension of what I believe based on how I was raised and the lessons that these four amazing people continue to teach me. I'm also a dog lover. So I feel like it would be a disservice if I did not share a picture of my dog. So this is Jay. She's a rescue pit bull that I've had for about 6 years, and she's a pain in my butt. That's all I can say. We'll just enjoy a picture here for a second. Okay, professional background. So I came to BGSU from Cleveland to study exercise science. I went through a couple different stages. I thought I wanted to do physical therapy. I actually first came to BGSU as an aviation major. Yeah, that was crazy. Little 180 there. I became a strength coach, and I really fell in love with helping people of all walks of life, of all of the abilities gain health, fitness, and strength for life. So I have my degree in exercise science as well as a couple other fitness certifications. One newer one is our adaptive athlete certification. So 4 months ago, we started an adaptive athlete fitness program, and that means that we are certified, licensed, and excited to work with kids and adults with developmental and physical disabilities. So that's been a super exciting program. It's been a super exciting population of people to work with, and we felt like we just got started, but I feel like we've been doing it for 10 years. So yeah, and then I'll kind of explain the relevance of each picture here. This is a picture of me when I was in college. I was the president of the Student Exercise Science Association, which is a mouthful. Tried getting that changed, couldn't. But I really enjoyed my time there. And then over here in the bottom left, so this is Coach Gabe without long hair. Yeah, if you meet Coach Gabe, his hair is down to his shoulders now. But this is my main staff. So this is Gabe, and then Kat and Riley. They're the backbone of the well. They do about 95% of the actual coaching, and it's been a pleasure to watch them grow and help them grow as people and as coaches. Something that I love to note here. Personal training, strength training is a very hard industry to build a career in. Off the top of my head, I think the average is that most personal trainers get out of the industry after the first 2 years of being a trainer. Yeah. And it's a shame because, and the reason they leave is because they're overworked and they're underpaid. It's a very emotionally demanding career. It requires equal parts EQ and IQ, which is very difficult for an individual to have and grow. So my job for them is to help them learn and grow as coaches so they can become career coaches, because no one becomes a trainer because the money is good, right? People become a trainer because they're passionate about helping people. They're passionate about exercise. Luke, you're an exercise science major, right? Yep. You became, you wanted to pursue that because you had a passion for helping people, right? So this is not a part-time job for them. Gabe and Kat work full-time. They have degrees in exercise science along with their fitness certifications. And then Riley also has her undergrad in exercise science. She's about a year into her master's. So she'll be graduating with a master's of kinesiology. She's way smarter than I am. And I'm super excited to continue to grow the gym with her. And then up top here, me with the super tall guy, Kenny. Kenny is my business mentor. So I hired Kenny 3 years ago. And the best way I can describe why I hired Kenny is I was a really good trainer who can deliver a great program and get most people to stick to it the majority of the time. But I had no idea how to run and scale a business. And one of our pillars is impact. And to truly make an impact, you have to stay open long enough as a business to make an impact, right? You will be doing a disservice if you're on it for 2 years, go hard, and then go out of business. So Kenny has taught me and is continuing to teach me the ins and outs of the fitness industry, how to do it at a high level and how to impact people at an even higher level from there. So that's kind of my spiel professionally. Getting into the story of the well. So we turned 5 years old last November. Something we're excited about. And we had some real grassroots kind of bootstrap origins. The well started because of COVID, essentially. I was working at a gym in town as a trainer. As I mentioned earlier, I'm from Cleveland originally. So I extended my lease over the summertime so I could stay in Bowling Green and continue gaining experience and working. So I really enjoyed it. COVID happened the end of my junior year of college. And the gym closed down like every business did. The owner said, hey, we're not opening back up after COVID. Like, we're done. And so I was left in Bowling Green with a rent to pay and no job. And so I did the best thing I could, and that was train people outside at a parking lot at the Slippery on Trailhead by Walmart. Yeah. And the reason I picked that place is because there were bathrooms and a water fountain. I didn't know if they were supposed to be there now. We thought it was like drove by, and every time they did, I was like, oh, this is the day we're getting shut down. They didn't. So I posted on Facebook. I was like, hey, I'll be there at 7 a.m., 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 5:30 p.m. if you want to come get a workout in. Money in COVID was weird, so I did it for donation. I just wrote my Venmo up on the board. I was like, hey, if you want to pay, you can. You don't have to. I just want to help. And that was our start. And we were there for about 7 to 8 weeks. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. And then I got a job at TJ Maxx because I still couldn't afford rent. And that's where I met my fiance. So I'm glad that worked out. I was at TJ Maxx for about 2 months, and I was like, hey, I want to give this gym thing another go. Things were starting to open up a little bit, but not at the extent that we needed it to. So enter the storage unit era. Yeah, I couldn't afford to get into a long-term lease or anything like that. So we rented out a 15-foot by 20-foot storage unit down by where the highway is. And I remember I called the manager of the storage unit. And I explained to her what my intentions were, right? And she kind of went silent for a second. And she's like, it's technically not allowed. Like, but you can do it. If it comes back and people start complaining or anything like that, like, that's on you. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta do that. Fair enough. So we were in the storage unit for 2 months, and that was amazing. It allowed us to get some gym equipment, have a place to train locally. And then the winter started coming, and we needed a place with heat, right? Again, so couldn't afford to get into a long-term lease or anything like that. So I spent a Thursday and a Friday walking into every single small business I could in Bowling Green and asking if they had a small space that I could sublet from them over the winter time so I can keep training our members. Everyone said no. One guy gave me his card, told him to call later. I called him, he didn't pick up, left a voicemail. 2 weeks later, I called him again. He did answer. And lo and behold, he had a garage. It was a 3-car garage, which you see here. He was an auto mechanic. So this was like where he started his mechanic shop after he got to the one that he's at now. But he said, yeah, I'll rent this out for you. It's got heat, it's got electricity, but it does not have running water. And I'm like, okay. So we rented a porta potty, which is why I'm sorry you're eating lunch and staring at a porta potty. But creative solutions, that's what we're about. So we spent winter there, and there is nothing worse than going to the bathroom or porta potty in the dead of Bowling Green. I will never ever forget that. Definitely foundational moment for me. But it was an awesome opportunity. And then I was nearing the end of my senior year in college, and I didn't necessarily. I had two options essentially. It was either graduate, and with the I guess our agreement with the garage is there was no long-term lease. It was just month. It's just something important for me because again, young, I didn't really know the path that I was going that right. So graduation was approaching, and I had 2 paths in front of me. One path was move back to Cleveland, probably get a job as a strength and conditioning coach. I had very good connections there that were interested in hiring me, or I could stay in Bowling Green and kind of explore this thing that was innocent. And I was going back and forth a lot, and I pretty much came to the conclusion of, hey, I think something that we built here in Bowling Green is special. Even though it's very small and again in its infancy. So I told myself I would give myself a year. I renewed my apartment lease for another year. I said I'm gonna give it everything for a year. I'm not gonna do anything but work on this. I'm not hanging out with friends. I'm limiting family time back in Cleveland. I'm gonna pour everything I can into this for a year. And if I don't see a glimmer of hope, that's cool. Can it, move back to Cleveland, no regrets. And start my career as a strength and conditioning coach for someone else. And that year was hard. All my friends moved away. I knew no one here. It was lonely, but it allowed me to focus on the well. And essentially, I grew to the point where I saw a future, and I said, "Hey, I'm all in this thing." And then that's when we got our fourth space in the Woodland Mall, which you see up here. Oh. So, yep, Woodland Mall. We had a great opportunity there. It was a big space. We didn't have enough equipment to fill it, so we were literally using like a quarter of the space when we moved into the mall. It was the rent was the right price and no long-term lease, so I was still month to month, which is high risk, high reward, which is how I love it. Apparently, yeah. So we were there for 3 years. It was very. You guys remember the movie Rocky 1? Like when, yeah, very Rocky 1 vibes. Every time it rained, the roof leaked. We told our members like, "Hey, no town has a water feature like we do. Just don't drink it." Yeah, so we were there for 3 years. And then on that fourth year, we got the opportunity to move into where we are at now, which is this picture here at 1099 North Main Street. So we have about 4,000 square feet. We're behind Halleck Auto Sales, across from Kroger. So it's the old GMC dealership. So Halleck moved into that building. And essentially the service, the 4,000 square foot service bay at the back, he had no intention of adding that into his model. So through some mutual connections, I got connected with him. We moved into there, and it's a beautiful space, high ceilings, windows on both sides, and it's really allowing us to continue to grow from there. And that's where we're operating out of, and it's just awesome, and I'm super grateful to be there. So that's our story, how we got started over the last 5 years. Okay, I'm gonna grab a quick drink of water because I'm talking a lot. Now we're getting into the fun stuff: health and fitness, longevity, strength. I'm gonna kind of go through everything, and then as I promised before, I'm gonna give you the exact step-by-steps stuff that you can start today to help you feel better. And then at the end, I would love to have conversation, questions, ask me anything. If you ask me a question I don't have the answer to, I'll tell you, and I'll go find the answer, and I'll get back to you. Is how I work with that. So this big overarching theme of what we do: health span versus lifespan. So health span, we all know what that means, right? It's the time you enter this world and the time you leave this world, right? Health span is about quantity, how much time we have on Earth. Health span is a little bit different. The easiest way I can describe health span is the amount of time on Earth that we have that we can actually enjoy, right? Enjoy doing the things that we want to do with the people that we love without our body holding us back. So lifespan is about quantity. Health span is about quality. So our goal at the well, no matter who we're working with, no matter what their goals are, the foundation of that is to increase your lifespan. We want you to live longer. But more importantly, in my opinion, is I want to increase our health spans. I want to increase the amount of time that we have on Earth that we actually get to enjoy. And I'll tell you exactly how to do it. So our specialty at the end of the day is coaching. So every member that we work with, they are either in a large group class, a small group class, or working with us one-on-one every single session. They never show up to the gym without a coach there. Everything that we do at the gym is with a coach, guiding you through each movement and providing you that support that you need and changing your program, because health and fitness is not a one-size-fits-all model. And that's probably the hardest thing about it is we all have a lot of questions about health and fitness. It's very hard to give general advice, right? A lot of, if you've known me for a while, and my friends will attest to this, and my clients, they'll ask me a question, and 99% of the time, the first thing out of my mouth is, it depends. Right? Which I know is aggravating. It's aggravating for me too, but I need more context in order to help you. So developing that one-on-one relationship with you is super important. And then the bottom here, and what you kind of saw on my first slide, is training for life. So training for life is a phrase that I don't think I came up. I don't know how I came to it. Maybe I saw it somewhere. Maybe it's something my mind invented. I can't really remember. But training for life is one of those another foundational pillar. And what does training for life mean? It's very, very big for life. Training for life means training and exercising in a way that allows you to do what you want to do with the people that you love for as long as possible, right? So it sounds a lot like that healthcare, right? So we want to train for life. So when we talk about training for life, that means building functional strength. Functional strength is built when we're doing dynamic movements, different movements. Functional strength isn't necessarily built on sitting on a machine and pushing it 10 times and then going to another machine and pushing. That's fine. That's better than not doing anything, but you're just building strength. We want to build functional strength. You don't live life on a machine. Life puts you in awkward positions in your body. If you drop something or if you're about to fall, you need to be able to react in a way that gives that functional strength. So those are the kind of movements that we'll mostly be working with. So functional strength, if you want a concrete definition, the ability to do everyday tasks safely and confidently. Some examples of that: getting off of the chair without using your hands, or getting off the toilet. I wrote a blog a couple years ago called "Help I Can't Get Off the Toilet." Yeah. Right. Carrying laundry, walking without the fear of falling, getting up from the ground, reaching overhead. So every exercise that we do, every program that we create, it is with the intention of helping you live a more functional life, live a fuller life, and a more independent life from there. So this is something fun. We want to talk about the centenary and decathlon. Right. This is what we're training for. So when we're looking at this, we're thinking of a proactive approach, not necessarily a reactive approach. So that means that when you're exercising today, yes, I want you to exercise today because you're going to feel better mentally, physically, emotionally. But we also want to keep kind of in the back of our minds that we're training for the activities that we want to be able to do when we're in our 90s, or even if we reach 100. And so when you think about what you want your life to look like during that centenary decathlon, that's why we train. Right? Climbing stairs, carrying groceries, traveling, playing with the grandkids, getting off the floor. You want to train for the future version of you, not just the current version. Does anyone know what the most important muscle for longevity is? Any guesses? No? Floor? No? Strength training is the aspect of it. Yeah, you can't get it without strength training. It's your legs. Your grip strength is like number 2, 3, I think. Grip strength is super important. And we'll talk about that in a second. So that was good. But your legs are the most important. And the reason for that is that, and different studies show different things, but the majority of the ones that I found that I work off of is that the biggest risk to your mortality is social isolation. Yeah, no matter what age you are, it sucks being alone. Even though I'm an introvert and I'd rather be away from people, I still go alone. Okay? So when we talk about living a long, full life, you need to be able to get to places. You need to be able to go see people, and you need to be able to stand up, sit down, and do all those things. So your leg strength is one of the most important things that we want to focus on. From there, I thought that was just a cool little aspect to add. So all this is great, right? I'm telling you about this, and you're like, Sam, how do I actually do it? Or what does this actually mean? And this is what being a coach is all about. So I'm a coach. I can talk big picture all day and motivate you and inspire you. But if I don't give you the exact steps, I'm just some other guy that likes working out that's just speaking to the masses, right? So now we're going to get back. So these are the 5 pillars of functional strength. Lower body strength, what we just talked. Grip strength, right? Balance, core stability, and then an often ignored one, power. So when we talk about grip strength, your ability to hold a steering wheel, carry your groceries, hold yourself up onto something. Grip strength is a unique one because it's not something you just inherently have, right? We all stand up and walk around for the most part and go upstairs, go downstairs. Maybe some of those movements are difficult for each individual, but we all have legs for the most part. Grip strength is something, the only way to get stronger with it is to hold heavy things, relatively speaking, right? So grip strength isn't something you're just born with. Grip strength you have to work on. There's a cool study, I can't remember the specifics off of it, but they were able to essentially predict how long you're going to live based on how long you can hold your body weight up in your 30s and 40s. So I think, and don't quote me on this, but I think for men, if you were able to hold yourself up for 1.5 minutes, that puts you at a certain longevity marker. And then for women, if you're able to hold yourself up for 1 minute, it puts you at a certain longevity marker. So there's cool studies about grip strength and how that correlates to longevity. Balance. You gotta be able to not fall. Right? Like, that's the most effective way to say it. And the more we can limit falling, or even build the capacity, what we call the capacity to fall, to where none of us are going to avoid falling forever. At some point, we will fall, unfortunately. And is your body going to be able to take that force without anything happening? Right. Core stability, staying upright, twisting, bending, reaching, all of these things that we need to be able to do to live a long life. And then power. Power is a little bit different for everyone, but an easy way to describe it is if you're throwing off balance with something, do you have the power to catch yourself? Right? Power is a little harder to train. You're gonna be throwing things, catching things, you're gonna be reacting to things differently. Power is a big one, and it correlates to core stability and strength. Without these two, we can't have power. All right, the three big myths. So as I mentioned, I've been working with people for the past 10 years. I've heard everything. I don't like the word excuses, but I've heard, well, let's call them valid concerns. Okay, we all have valid concerns, and that's not lost on me. I have my own valid concerns about my own health, right? But these are what I would say are the big three that I hear most often. So myth number one is it's too late for me, right? Myth number two is walking is enough, and then myth number three is if it doesn't hurt, it's not working. So the it's too late for me. It doesn't really. I mean, I've heard this one at every age. Sometimes it depends on. Hey, I work with a guy who's in his 50s who already had a stroke, right? He's got a lot of life left. And if he got caught up in that, it's too late for me. That's an unfortunate way to live, right? I like to think that when we're talking about health and fitness, there's a productive conversation and there's an unproductive conversation. It's up to you which one you want to focus on. So that unproductive conversation is focusing on all the reasons why you can't do what you want to do. And a productive conversation is, hey, I'm aware of the reasons why I can't. I acknowledge it, but I'd rather focus on how can I do it? Right? How can I move forward? I would rather have a productive conversation because I think life's just a little better when it happens. Walking is enough. Walking is amazing, but it's not enough. I'd rather you walk than sit on the couch, right? And walking is great. I recommend all of my clients. But strength training, building functional strength, as we talked about earlier, is absolutely necessary for bone health and for those 5 pillars of functional strength that we talked about earlier. So walking is good, but we need a load the body, right? And then myth number 3, if it doesn't hurt, it's not working. So what this means is, raise your hand if you're hard on yourself. I'm not gonna raise your hand if you're hard on yourself. I'm hard on myself too. Okay, you can put your hands down. If you're hard on yourself, then you want to push yourself, right? Great qualities sometimes. But if you go to the gym, this is when we overdo it and get it. We work with a lot of members who are falling into that I'm hard on myself bucket, and they want to go hard every single time. And sometimes, people think a lot of our job is pushing people. More than half the time, it's holding people back. Okay, like I appreciate the drive to want to do this, but right now we need to start here, so we can push it when we're right. So if you go to the gym and you think that just because I'm not sore, I'm not breaking a sweat, or I don't feel my heart rate up, and that it's not working, and that is completely false, right? Most of the time, I want you feeling good. Right? I want you to feel energized. You might feel sore, but not the kind that way you can't stand up. The kind where you stand up and you're, ooh, I feel like I did something. So those are 3 big myths that I hope I've helped kind of navigate a little bit. Okay, as promised, I'm gonna tell you exactly what to do. So I have a little printout here. I'll kind of give. Hopefully, I have enough for everyone. So I can help putting some in. I'm just gonna keep going for them. So yeah. If we finish handing this out and you did not get one, I can make sure I email Danielle copy, or I can print some out and print some later just to have here. So you have it. Yes. You got some extra? Yeah. Thank you so much. Another thing. All right. So if I were you, I'm a master at habit implementation, right? What we talked about today is awesome, but life will be life. You'll forget about it, and you'll move on and do your thing. So if I were you, I would put this on your fridge. Because it's somewhere that you see every day. And it's gonna kind of remind you of why we want to move. There's a little bit of, again, what is functional strength, why it matters, the 5 pillars of staying strong, and then a simply deeply plan. So we're gonna go through each pillar of staying strong. I'm gonna show you how to do it, and we'll go from there. So the first one, lower body strength. We're talking about sit to stand from a chair. So you have a chair here. The lower, so not all chairs are built equal. The lower the chair, the more difficult it's gonna be. So if you have access to a higher chair, or you can even put something on the chair like a phone book. I don't recommend putting a laptop on the chair. Something you're not gonna come to. And so we say sit to stand. We need sitting, planting your feet firmly, and standing. If you're someone that has some hip impingement, this is, if I go too down in the rabbit hole, and again, I'm a coach, I really like changing things to help people. You can put books or something underneath your heels. It'll slightly elevate your heel. It's gonna rotate your pelvis in a way that makes it a little easier to stand up. So kind of put that in the back of your mind and then stand from there. What we don't want to do is stand on our toes, right? If we're driving through the toes, that puts a lot of pressure on joints that don't necessarily need to be loaded that much. So flat feet. Also, if this is a little difficult, you want to put your hands on your knees, kind of lean forward and then stand. That's a great way to do it as well. As you start to build, if you're someone who like, you don't need hands, nothing, you're sitting and standing, grab something, whether it's a grandkid, a book, a jug of water, something, right? Hold it and stand, right? That's a great one. All right. After that, your grip strength. Carry something heavy, moderately. I don't care what it is. The more awkward the object, the better, actually. So if you take it like a half wheel jug of milk, put it in one hand and just walk around your house with it, or you maybe just like finish the milk, put water in it. You can get a little gross. And then just walk around the house, and that water swishing around is going to cause your arm to move, and that's going to cause your core to kind of react and stabilize you. You can hold it at your side, you can hold it up here. If you have some small weights at home, you can hold it there. Carrying anything and just walking with it. If you're able to go above head, go above head. The more different positions you can do, the better. Okay, next, balance. Stand on one leg per side. So if you struggle with balance, I would recommend finding a wall or a sturdy person and stand and just very gently just touch it and figure out standing. Real quick to note, when you're standing, I would prefer you not keep a straight leg. So this is a straight leg. This is an active leg. So I'm slightly bending, not a lot, just very slightly bending that knee. That's going to give you a little bit more stability. It's going to properly load the ankle, the knee, and the hip. So you can build kind of that strength from there. If you're someone that's balance is one of your strengths, or you build that into a strength, and you can do this all day. Hold something heavy, go on one leg, and just hold the heavy thing, or pass it from hand to hand, or reach for something, or twist for something. Again, putting your body in those dynamic movements, not isolated movements, is something that we really want to focus on. After that, power. So power, as I mentioned, builds off of your strength, your balance, and your core stability. So if power isn't something that you need to focus on, and you see that for those first 4 as, hey, I need to focus on this first, focus on those first. Do it for a couple weeks, and then let's talk about power. And then the quickest way you can build power is going back to that sit to stand and doing it more aggressively. So something that I like to do, whether that means just here and trying to stand up faster, or we do this with our athletes. Lift your feet off the ground and then go up. Right. So now we're getting some power through the hips, some power through the thighs. So that's something that you can build to and use that as kind of like a testing from that. And then your weekly plan, kind of as it's written here. So ideally 2 to 3 days per week, sit to stands, carries, core work, step ups. Daily, you want to do balance practice. Balance stuff won't necessarily get you sore because it has more to do with kind of like your neurological coordination, and that you can gain a lot quicker. So balance is good to do every day. And what I like to say here again, it's hard to give fitness advice to a general group of people. All of you are different. In a perfect world, I'd like to have a 20 to 30-minute conversation with each of you so I can dial it in. But pay attention to your body, right? If it comes time, if it's your 3rd workout day of the week where you're doing this and you're like, ooh, I feel tired, take a step back, go for a walk that day instead, and then try again the next day. So we have to be kind of fluid in a structural sense when we're thinking about exercising from there. And then I just have a little note to you at the end. If you want more help, have more questions, I put my email and my phone number. You can call, email, text me. I'd love to have a conversation with you if you need more help. In terms of if you're interested in taking it a step further, the boosting bone health class here on Fridays at I think 1 o'clock with Coach Gage is a great way to start. All of his programming kind of ties into what we talk about here, as you can probably attest to. And then if you like that, and you want more help and you want more guidance, and you want to meet at the well, first step is an intro meeting. And what that is a sit down conversation with one of our coaches. And during that conversation, we just want to know, hey, where are you at right now? What are the things in your life that are important to you? And then we'll kind of give you a couple options as to how we can help you get there from there. But I hope today helped inspire you a little bit, maybe learn a couple new things. And please try those out. Let me know how they go and have fun. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
I hate to ask this question.
Yeah.
But I have to. What are the charges?
Absolutely, yeah, and I get asked that all the time, and remember what I had said earlier about people hate my answer? It's bad. It's if I had, we have like 40 different options, just because health and fitness is a very general topic, but it's very personalized. So I wouldn't be able to give you even starting this price point without talking to you first, and that's why we do the interview. That meeting is free. We want to sit down, hear everything, and then actually give you a couple options that will work, rather than say, hey, here's everything. 90% of these things might not actually help you because we don't know anything about you. That's not a productive conversation to us. So we would really rather meet you, point you in the right direction. We'll give you a couple options. If at the end of the day nothing works, we're going to give you some free options as well, kind of like what we did today, so you can at least make some progress. Thank you for asking. I appreciate that. Okay. I think yeah. We do not take silver sneakers. It is, yeah. So we would like I said, we're a personalized business, we're a private business. I am not like in terms of like Medicare, Medicaid, government funding, stuff like that. We don't receive any help from those organizations. So that prevents us from becoming accessible to them, unfortunately. So
It's not help for you, it's help for us, and they're gonna pay our bill.
correct. Yes, yeah, and oftentimes there's a bit of a discrepancy between what they think it's worth versus what we need to be able to operate on. But if Silver Sneakers is like, hey, this is the only way I can stay fit. I direct people to other gyms in the area that do Silver Sneakers, and that's perfect. I'm happy when you're doing something. I don't care if you do it at the well or at another gym. Truly what makes me happy is just, hey Sam, I heard your talk. It inspired me to go to a gym in town and start strength training. And now I feel better. Like that's at the end of the day what I want for you.
I have one more question.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're early stages. Yeah, so the class grew a lot. When we first started the class, I want to say it's close to a year ago. Then we had like 2 or 3 people. And then slowly it kind of grew and grew, and I think it's a full classroom now. So if there's a need, we'll fill it. Yeah. Thank you.
Before COVID.
Yeah.
I worked with a trainer at BG. Basically because I was gonna be traveling and, I wanted to be able to.
Sure.
But then after COVID, knees and hips and all that kind of stuff, I go to the exercise class here. My sense is that when you work with a trainer, there's a level above what you get in the exercise class because it's focused on you.
Yeah.
So you might do both, but.
Yeah, you're exactly right. That's exactly what I would say. We have equipment here. We have chairs here, and that's great. We can do a lot of amazing stuff, and we can make a lot of progress. But if at some point, if you want more or you want to explore more things, our facility is equipped in a way to where we can open that up for you a lot more. Yeah, so you're 100% right.
Gonna ask what type of machines you do have for the older
people.
Yeah, so machines don't know how old you are, which is cool. So anyone- yeah, believe it or not, or young. So actually, this is a good picture. So, back here you see rowing machines. And what's really cool about the equipment that we do have, as I mentioned about our adaptive fitness population, we work with people from the intellectual disabilities, but also the physical disabilities. So we're working with an athlete right now who's in a full power chair. And we're able to get him full session. We're able to adapt certain movements to him. So we always say, his name's Justin, but if Justin can come in and get a great workout in a power chair, anyone can come in and get a great workout. I mean, he's an amazing individual, and he's super passionate about getting better and improving from there. So a wide range of equipment. This is a sled. This is a cable lap pull down. As I mentioned, the rower. This is what they look like. We have bikes. We do help a lot of people that are coming out of physical therapy. So as I mentioned earlier, machines aren't our favorite, so we don't discriminate against them. So if you're someone who needs to rehab a knee or a hip, we do have a leg extension machine. Excuse me, we do have a leg curl machine.